bottom line is that the way it's all set up right now is that the San Francisco 49ers have the flexibility to be able to wheel and deal. And we know when you look at the past and when you look at what the 49ers have done, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, they have not been shy to make trades in the NFL draft. I mean, obviously, they made one of the biggest trades of all time in going up and getting Trey Lance with the third pick overall, obviously trading multiple first round picks and all that type of stuff. But I mean, you can go back to one of their early drafts when they traded back up into the first to get Reuben Foster. You can talk about them trading up in the first round to get Brandon Ayuk. They have made trades, and hey, I think they will continue to make trades in this upcoming draft. So I want to start here in regards to what trade I think actually has some viable potential here. But I do want to start with a trade that I think the 49ers could make on draft day that would instantly upgrade the roster, meaning the 49ers use some picks to go out and get a solidified veteran player who could step in day one and start immediately. And so let's start right there. So for my first trade scenario on draft day for the San Francisco 49ers, I have the Niners sending the 124th pick overall in the NFL draft, which would be their first fourth round draft pick, to the Cleveland Browns for Greg Newsome. I do think that Greg Newsome could be available. He has been talked about in trade rumors. He has been discussed as a potential trade candidate. And when you look at the entire roster build out of the Cleveland Browns, they have some quality cornerbacks. Obviously, we know with their top guy out there in Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson has taken and solidified the outside corner spot across from Denzel Ward, which put Greg Newsome into the nickel. And he's been vocal about not liking that spot. And so the San Francisco 49ers could trade for Greg Newsome and instantly get a starter on the opposite side of Mooney Ward, and you could still keep Diamador Lenore in the slot. So I do think that would be a potential option. And I also cross-referenced this against trades that went down earlier this year. You think about the L'Jarius Sneed trade to Tennessee. Well, the Chiefs received a 2025 third round draft pick, and they also had a 2024 seventh round pick swap. So only took a 2025 third round to get L'Jarius Sneed, obviously partly due to having to pay him right away. But it wasn't all that much. And I would say L'Jarius Sneed right now has much more cachet in the league in regards to what he's done and his resume compared to Greg Newsome. So I do think if the Cleveland Browns are open to trading Greg Newsome, I think you could get him at somewhat of a value, and you could potentially send a fourth. And hey, let's say they're like, hey, fourth isn't enough. I could see the 49ers maybe sending the third, 94th, and maybe the 94th pick gets it done to get Greg Newsome. And when you're looking in the third round, that also feels like a spot where the 49ers could be targeting cornerback to begin with. So that would allow them to pick up a starter, a solidified former first-round draft pick who's coming off a career high in tackles with 49 last year. He had 4 tackles for loss. He had 14 pass breakups and 2 interceptions last season. You immediately solidify your cornerback room by going out and getting Greg Newsome. And if it costs 94th overall, that to me, I think, is a quality addition. And we do have Kyle in the chat say, keep in mind, we got to pay Purdy next year, Brad. What's Newsome's contract look like? So right now, he is currently on the last year of his rookie deal. And so he's cost controlled at the moment. And if the Browns pick up his 5th-year option, he would be playing in 2025 on a $13 million 5th-year option. So I do think that, when we look, all things considered, if Greg Newsome were to come in and turn out to be a quality cornerback for the San Francisco 49ers, paying him $13 million in 2025, I think would be something that the 49ers could absolutely stomach. They would have 2 years of team control in regards to his contract, and that would allow them some flexibility in that regard. So right off the bat, that's where I'm thinking. You can give up a third. If you give up 94, if you can somehow get away with a 4th, even better. But if you're in that 3rd, 4th round range, you take one of those picks, you send it over to Cleveland, you get Newsome in return, you immediately get an outside corner who fits what the 49ers are looking to do. He would be perfect in this scheme, and he's just out of place right now with the Browns, and I think you could really get a solid value there. And that would immediately take a need off the board for the 49ers in the draft. So if they were to send a third, they could go BPA at 31 overall and all those different types of things. Am I factoring in BA's potential deal too? Because if BA gets paid, they're kicking out the cap hit beyond next year. So they will spread it out, and it will likely be a backloaded contract. So BA, you would likely reduce BA's cap hit this season. So as a result of that, you have the ability to take on that type of contract. So I think it would be phenomenal. And you have a young player who could really present a challenge and really shore up the 49ers secondary in a big way. So that's my first trade. So I got 2 more trades.